Hills. And here come
the Beverly Hillbillies.
The Beverly Hillbillies aired on CBS from 1962 to 1971. Its popularity was such that as late as the early 1990s, several episodes were on the top 100 highest-rated TV shows of all time. This is the list that has things like Super Bowls and the finale of MASH in the top 10, yet several regular season episodes were among the top 100. Those episodes have probably fallen off the list from superboardings alone, but that they were there on the list for 30 years is amazing. The plot of the show, like many shows of the era, was laid out in the opening theme. We don't have opening themes these days, all the better to squeeze in 1 to 2 more commercials. But back then, they could make the show. In this case, we learn that Clampetts were poor mountaineer hillbillies who found a fortune in oil on their land, so they moved to better digs in Beverly Hills. In the process, making a fish-out-of-water show that lasted 9 years. Well, this is a comedy we should just suspend disbelief as we enjoy the show. It's equally as fun to take it apart and see just how outlandish the whole prospect was. So watch, and you too can become that guy at the next party you attend. First, a few words on where and what sources I'm using here. For details on the show itself, I'm using the pilot episode and information found with a simple Google search. The show may have changed some details over the years, but this video is just using what the show started out as. For details on the oil industry, I'm using sources of simple Google searches, the book The Prize, which is a full history of the oil industry to about 1990, and my own experience in the oil and gas industry. Let's start by asking if oil actually seeps at the surface like in the opening credits. Yes. Well, sort of. The first oil well in Pennsylvania was drilled because oil was known to seep to the surface in the area. This goes back to Indian tribes finding and using the oil for various things. Eventually, a man named Drake came up with the idea to drill for it. When he did, a resource that our modern life was built on was founded. Now, this would not happen because of a stray bullet. That one is totally for the fun of fiction. But oil seeping up? Totally. Especially in the parts of the USA that the Clampetts live versus, say, Texas or the Middle East, where the formations are different and deeper. But where do the Clampetts live? Shot of the show, it was left ambiguous. A Google search shows it was in Missouri, in the Ozark Mountains. If we look at a map of oil-producing areas in Missouri, we see that most of the oil is produced in the northwestern area of the state. Compare that to the Ozark Mountains, which are more southern and eastern. Sorry for the map of the Ozarks, was the best I could find. So while oil certainly could seep to the surface, chance of it happening where the Clampetts lived, well, not so much. Pilot episode, Jeb's offered $25 million for his land. Put that in perspective, it's about $263 million in 2025. Oil was under $2 a barrel back then, which is about $21 today. So in real and nominal terms, oil was cheap, making it hard to justify that kind of investment, but invest they did. Now, in 1962, Esso, later Exxon, was the largest oil company in the USA. Their average American well produced about 25 barrels per day. Jeb probably owned 10 acres of land, maybe as much as 40, but even at 40 acres, this is really only enough room for one well. So let's forget the cost to drill the oil, transport the oil, market the oil, and everything else. Assume it all went to profit. This means 500,000 days to recover the $25 million they invested in the land. For those of you in Rio Linda, this is 1,400 years. This is why oil companies don't buy land. They lease it. Now, if they leased it, makes Jeb's fortune even more improbable. Let's take a look at how that would work. So let's look at what would really happen. The oil company would have leased the land. A standard oil lease works like this. A bonus payment is made to the owner to both give some immediate income and pay for the inconvenience of the drilling process. But we're going to ignore any kind of bonus payment that Jeb might have gotten here just to keep things simple. When oil is hit, the landowner gets 1/8 the oil off the top, or what's also called an overriding interest or overriding royalty interest. To the early 1900s, they might have taken that in oil or gas directly just to use on their farm. By the 1960s, they just got a check. Then the oil company has the rights to all the oil that comes up forever, as long as production isn't broken for any kind of a length of time. So see, why pay $25 million up front when you could pay a small amount and then just give a royalty? Taking a look. Who knew this? Google can do basic algebraic problems. Where was this when I was in 7th grade? By leasing instead of buying, the oil company would have more profit until they produced 105 million barrels of oil, based on all of our numbers from 1962. Now this is gross, not counting any other cost. This also means Jeb needed the same 105 million barrels to get his 25 million. So now we know how silly and impossible the whole thing is, but here's the real thing. The show is great because you suspend the disbelief. This analysis is what you'd call a nerd analysis. Kind of thing you do just to kick around. But honestly, we could use shows like the Beverly Hillbillies today. It was good, clean comedy. Ellie Mae was hot, but she was never trashy. I can think of not one moment in the show where a parent would have to be embarrassed because their kids would ask what something meant. Maybe it's too simple of a plot for today, but it's still all fun to watch.